Calls.
It's time now for House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty.
Keep it here for market insights, featured guests, and answers to your real estate questions.
Here are your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery.
House Calls, baby. Hey. We're back at it again. Steve here with Mountain to Lake Realty and the Kingery team. We're bringing you another House Calls. We're pretty excited about seeing you guys every Saturday morning, sharing with you the latest and greatest that is going on in the real estate market. Julie, my sidekick, is normally here, and unfortunately she's not here with us today, but we've got Mr. Melvin Woodson with First Bank and Trust. How you doing, Melvin?
House Calls, doing good.
Melvin, we appreciate you being with us. We're talking a little bit about what's going on in the real estate market here on House Calls. And you guys, when we talk about what's happened in the last week in the market, from my perspective, we've not seen a whole lot of huge changes. Inventory is still growing slowly, but inventory is still continuing to tick up. Homes are staying on the market a little longer. We have seen, as we talked about last week, over the last 30 days, we've seen mortgage rates kind of come down some. But from that standpoint, sort of kind of fell in sort of a, what I would say, just sort of holding its own, not a new change there. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair to say.
Talked about inventory, talking a little bit about rates. When I think about the pace of the market and I look at what's going on within the Kingery team at Mountain to Lake, we do have people that are interested in selling some homes. There's active discussions going on about getting those homes prepped and ready to go. And then we've got, obviously, there are some buyers in the market that we're trying to get things lined out and continuing to look at homes that are on the market and seeing if we can find the right fit for them. And if I could just, Julie and I talked about this maybe a month ago, but guys, if you're in the market and you're interested in selling a property, I cannot express to you how important it is to do the work ahead of time, to have that property ready to go before you ever put that sign in the yard. Yeah. It's important that we get that done.
Well, not only that, Steve, obviously you want to do, if you're selling a house, you want to do some prep work, but on the buyer side, you mentioned buyers. Buyers got a little homework I would recommend doing too before you hit the market.
One of those would be finding a great lender, right, Melvin?
Finding a great local lender.
And where can they do that?
Well, they could always reach out to First Bank and Trust. First Bank and Trust is where I'd recommend. Some of the best lenders I know work.
Don't be bashful now. Go ahead and give us your phone number and go and lay it on out there. Come on.
All right. Well, since you put them on arm here a little bit, I can be reached locally here at 434-426-8083. And tell them Steve sent you.
He'll treat you real well.
That's right.
But on these House Calls, guys, we love for you to join us, and we certainly want to try to reach out and answer any questions that you guys might have. And so you can text us at 276-629-9999 or email us at thekingeryteam@gmail.com. Be a great way to reach out to us, email directly, or certainly we've got Facebook and Instagram, certainly things to do there. Or, the office at Mountain to Lake Realty is 540-483-5566. So, Melvin, what else in your mind is going on in the market today?
Everybody always wants to talk about rate, right? And some of that's the glass. We don't have the crystal ball, so to speak, to know where rates are going, what they're doing. But what I like to talk about, there is something you can do to control that rate at any time. And so we're talking about the term of your loan can sometimes dictate the rate. So there are things you can do regardless of the rate environment to get a better rate or to get better terms. So I'm talking specifically, any given day, you have several options. When we're talking mortgages, clearly there's fixed rate mortgages, there's adjustable rates. And if we're talking specifically about fixed rates, just for instance, you can get a 30, you can get a 20, you can get a 15-year mortgage. And typically lower term means lower rate. So even in any rate environment, if you want to get the best rate possible, maybe do you look at maybe a 30 versus a 15? Even if rates are up that day, certainly a 15-year mortgage rate is going to be cheaper than a 30.
Makes good sense, and certainly something that you might want to consider. And that's something that a good lender, they're going to have that conversation with the prospective buyer and say, hey, these are all our options. And you talked about that specific option, but there's certainly, you got different loan types.
Sure.
You got different durations. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you get into. And then, the other thing, we talk about credit, but maybe it's got a ding in your credit and you need to get that cleaned up. And, it may take 6 months or so, but that could really make a big difference in that rate or the overall package, right?
Absolutely. And, I'm glad you brought up credit score. I get, as information is made available, there's a lot of information out there on credit scores. Well, I would say too much. Some of it's conflicting. So, you definitely want to reach out to someone. There's a lot of things to navigate. We're talking credit score. We're talking loan programs. I mean, there's multiple layers here we got to unpack. And so that's why it's always good to reach out to your local lender. Find out specifically what's available. And I always like to present options because that's I'm not shoving a product down your throat, so to speak. I'm presenting the best options I have available based on your situation and empowering you to make the decision. It's always been my approach.
Your goal is as anyone is, you want to make sure, hey, these are the options. Mm-hmm. This is, I'm the buyer coming to you and I'm saying, this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. How can you help me? And then you're just sharing that information back as giving them the options and letting those folks kind of sort it through.
Correct. I mean, it's some deep waters to navigate, but that's why you need somebody, a trusted advisor, so to speak, to hold your hand through the process.
Having a great lender is important. A great real estate agent is important because we're talking about a major investment.
Correct.
Major investment for a lot of people that may be one of the largest investments they'll ever make in their lifetime. And from my standpoint, we don't take that lightly. And I know, Melvin, I've worked with you several times, and I know you don't take that lightly either. But guys, certainly want you to reach out to us, 276-629-9999. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to address them here on the show, and we'll move along from that standpoint. Melvin, unless you got any other thoughts, I think this is a great spot for a quick break, and we'll come back with questions of the week.
House calls.
When it comes to buying or selling a home, you want someone who gets family because your next chapter matters.
At the Kingery team, we're not just agents. We're a family helping families.
Whether it's your first home, forever home, or anything in between, we'll walk with you every step of the way.
Local, loyal, like family.
The Kingery team, selling real estate 1 yard at a time. Located uptown Rocky Mount at 195 South Main Street. Give us a call at 540-483-5566. Hey, everybody, we're back with some house calls. Yeah, baby, house calls. I love it. Pretty excited. I got Melvin here back with me in the second segment, and this is questions of the week. But before we go there, Melvin, I got a quick question for you that I like to, as I've kind of decided all my guests, I'm going to ask them this question, and that is, so is now the time I should buy a home or should I wait? How would you respond to that, sir?
Well, I'm going to give you the attorney answer to begin with. And it's going to be that it depends. But certainly there's some factors you should consider. And it's the old adage, when's the best time to buy? I think it's 7 years ago, and then the next best time is today. So I think in general, that's the best advice I can give on whether it's a good time to buy or not.
Okay. How could they reach out to you, Melvin, and if they're interested in buying?
Yeah, so you can reach out directly to me. I'm going to repeat the number here. It's 434-426-8083. That is 434-426-8083. Call or text anytime.
And that is for Melvin Woodson at First Bank and Trust, guys. All right, so question of the week. This one is coming from a 540, and he was referencing all these acronyms. Mm-hmm. All these acronyms that, well, we'll just call it lingo.
Yeah.
That goes on in our world. And so, Melvin, I'm going to run down a few here that I pulled out. We're just going to kind of let you share with us the expert opinion on what some of these are. So, LTV, Melvin, what can you tell us about LTV?
Yeah, this is not a Buick they made back in the 80s, okay? This is the old LTV. So, yeah, and I have to be careful because I always try not to throw these acronyms out because we kind of get in those habits, right? And so, yeah, LTV is your loan to value. So if you hear your lender throwing around that term, he's talking about, or she's talking about, the collateral position. So we're talking our loan amount versus the value of the home. And that could be different depending on what we're talking about. If we're in a refinance scenario, you own a home and you're just refinancing, that value is the appraised value, the market value of your home and your loan value. Now, if we're talking purchase, that could be different. Loan to value could be the value of the home versus your loan amount, or in some cases, it could be the purchase price versus the loan amount. So, but it's loan to value, and in some cases, loan to purchase price, depending on what we're talking about. It serves a couple safeguards, really. If you're the consumer or the buyer on this, it's going to make sure you're not overpaying for your property, and it's going to make sure you're in a good position. And there are some loans that don't require any money down. So with those, the loan to value would be 100%. And you can buy a home with no money down. I don't know if that's a myth buster coming out. You can buy a home with no money down. But some people choose to put money down, 3%, 5%, down to 20% or more. So your loan to value maybe becomes 95, 97, 80% loan to value. And things are different at each of those positions, each of those loan to value criteria.
What can you tell me about DTI?
DTI, the old debt to income ratio. It's so what we're looking at here, and this is, I will say, when we're talking about a mortgage loan, and we're talking about debt to income, we're always looking at gross income. Now, you and I know we're not operating from gross income. Uncle Sam gets his cut, and everybody, and FICA and whoever else gets their cut. But for a mortgage loan, we're looking at the gross amount. So before any deductions are made, and we're looking at the amount you have income versus the amount of debts that may show up specifically on a credit report. So we're talking installment loans, credit cards, mortgages, revolving accounts, those types of things.
How about PMI? Can you share with us a little bit about PMI there, Melvin?
Yeah, PMI. So that's private mortgage insurance. And so, we talked about earlier the amount of money you put down and how that can affect things. Well, this is one of the things your down payment can be affected by. So PMI is private mortgage insurance. It's not what people think. Some people think that's protecting me in case I have a fire. No, that's not what that is. That would be homeowner's insurance. PMI is private mortgage insurance, which essentially, to make it as easy as I can, it's a penalty the lender is charging you on a monthly, or it could be a one-time upfront basis or an annual basis. It's a penalty the lender's charging you for not putting 20% down. So anytime you're not putting 20% down on your purchase price, you could have additional annual, monthly, there's a couple ways to structure it, but additional fees added onto your loan amount.
Okay.
Known as PMI.
All right. Well, I'm going to take one here. This doesn't necessarily have to do with the lender world, but a CMA. What's a CMA? Competitive market analysis. That's been one that gets thrown out here a lot. And Melvin, if you were selling your home and you wanted me to come over and talk with you about what the property was worth, I'm going to create a CMA. Basically, I'm going to look at your home. We're going to look at properties that are similar or comparable in the market that have sold recently, and we're going to derive a price based off of that information, plus a lot of different factors that go in, but that's something that we'll use to kind of come up with what we think is a fair market price or fair price for your property. All right, Melvin, I'm going to roll back to you now with another one. This is in the lending world. What is FHA?
FHA. All right. We're talking about the Federal Housing Administration. And so we're talking about a specific loan program there that the government utilizes to help with home ownership. And, the benefits there, you've got a reduced interest rate on those. You don't have to have perfect credit for that. They understand that maybe some things happen.
So there is hope.
There is hope.
All right.
Now, an FHA loan, you're going to be looking for a small down payment, so you have to be prepared for that. And so I'd say talk to your mortgage person about it, but it's a really good program that's out there that may be able to make home ownership more affordable.
As we always like to say, guys, we'd welcome any other questions that you might have. 276-629-9999. You can text us. We'll be glad to answer any questions you have. Well, if you want to pick up this acronym discussion more with Melvin and maybe talk about purchasing a property, talking with him about securing your financing, you can find you at First Bank and trust.com. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm sure a quick Google search, your smiling face will be all over it, I'm sure.
You can find it somewhere out there, Steve.
Speaking of that, Google search, we'd love for you to reach out to the Kingery team at kingeryteam.com. Telephone number will work as well, 540-483-5566. Brings you to Mountain to Lake Realty, and the Kingery team would be glad to help you. Anything real estate related, buying or selling, glad to talk with you. And if you want to talk about questions here on House Calls at B99.9, certainly text 276-629-9999, and they'll be glad to help you. Melvin, it's always a pleasure, my friend. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Steve.
We appreciate you guys listening to us out there. We will catch up with you next week on another House Call.
Thanks for listening to House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty with your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery. If you have questions about anything discussed on today's show, text us at 276-629-9999. Join us again next Saturday at 9 for more tips, trends, and answers to your real estate questions on House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty and Southern Virginia's country station, B99.9.
House Calls.